boys and girls, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is the review of Peacock's new crime drama, at least the first 3 episodes of this crime drama, Fight Night, the $1 Million Heist, which stars Kevin Hart, Taraji P. Henson, Don Cheadle, and Samuel Jackson, just to name a few. This is a show that is based on true events. Not, I wouldn't say a true story per se, but true events. And the premise is a heist occurs the night of Muhammad Ali's return to boxing in 1970. And this took place in Atlanta. And this basically gave birth to the entertainment hub that Atlanta has become today. And it all started this night. And I knew nothing about this story. Nothing. And so I had to go deep dive in before the series started because I wanted a little context as to what this show was about. You know, what am I getting into here? Because quite honestly, I didn't know what this show was going. Well, I knew what it was going to be about, but I didn't know what tone they were taking, what direction they were going in this show. Is it going to be a parody? You know, I mean, because let's be honest, you have Kevin Hart in here, and Terrence Howard, and Samuel Jackson, and all these other folk, and they've known to be comedic, and they also known to be dramatic. You know, I'm not denigrate none of these actors and actresses who took part in this show. I just had a feeling it was going to be a parody, mainly because of Kevin Hart. Let's just put it, let's put it plainly here. I really thought it was going to be kind of a comedic take on this material or story, to be honest. And I'm happy to report that no, it wasn't. It's not a parody. It is really, they took this material serious, and it's a really well told story thus far. It's only the first 3 episodes that dropped on Peacock this past Thursday, and they're going to release an episode every Thursday going forward. And I thought it was going to be a binge. So I'm sitting there, I'm getting ready. I had got me something to eat. And I'm like, okay, I'm all in, you know, this is going to be the day for me. Sat down, got to episode 3 and it ended. I was like, wait, I thought it was 8 episodes. and no, it was just the first 3, and we're getting the rest every Thursday thereafter. And I had a business decision to make. Do I wait to review this show at the very end, or just review the first 3? Well, I couldn't get the first 3 episodes out of my head, and so I decided to go ahead and talk about the first 3 episodes of Fight Night. And, you know, depending on how the other 5 episodes pan out, I might discuss them at the end, or the season, or the series finale, I should say, because this is it. It's just a mini series. And probably come back then, but if not, I'm probably just leave it the way leave it where it is. But I will say these first 3 episodes I feel were done fairly well. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it so much I was mad that I didn't get the other 5. So that just lets you know right then that I was like, oh my god, come on, man, I thought we was getting them all at once, you know, but we ain't getting them. But these first 3 episodes, I feel tone wise was a little, it was a little shaky. You know, it wasn't perfect, but I liked the period. This was a period drama, you know, set in 1970, and it felt like 1970. It felt like a 70s film. It felt like a black exploitation film. Just drug out for 3 episodes, hopefully for 8 in total. But I thought this was a really cool way to dive back into that era of film, if not the world, because I wasn't around in 1970. The world had to wait another 9 years to be blessed with my presence. But I can imagine this is the feel and the vibe that was going on um, around that time. Uh, Kevin Hart. Now, I make no secret that I'm not a big fan of Kevin Hart's acting. Uh, Kevin Hart, as much as I respect him business wise, that he's probably one of the hardest working men in Hollywood. I gotta respect the hustle. But for the past couple of years, he's kind of dipped his toe into the dramatic field in acting, and it's been hit or miss. I some I liked. I liked him in Fatherhood. I think that was the name of the movie that was on Netflix. That was a good role for him, but it wasn't too much drama. He still had comedy to fall back on in that movie, but it was mostly drama. Lift, Lift was horrible. I just could not, and that wasn't really a drama, but it was a character he was playing that was the serious one, and I just could not vibe with him. I just could not go on that ride with him. Um, there's another movie in there. No, 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 no. The one with Wesley Snipes, that show. I think it was True Story. What's the name of it? But either way, that was all right. That was decent. So we move on to Fight Night, and he's playing the character Chicken Man, and he's a hustler. He's a former drug dealer, went to prison. He's out. Now he's running numbers. Now he's trying to uh, get in good with the black mafia to kind of stake his claim into Atlanta so Atlanta can be this like black Vegas, this black casino town that can bring in black dollars into the city. Understandable, like his vision there. Maybe not the method he's taken to do it, but I get it. He's also this womanizer, and I don't know. He was all type of stuff, but I would have loved to maybe see somebody else in this role. Nothing against Kevin Hart, because I actually think he was doing a good job in this role, and it may get better going forward. I'm being judgmental, and we're only 3 episodes in, and so I'm not being entirely fair. I'm fully admitting that right now, but I think somebody else in this role would have, I don't know, brought something else, brought something that would have helped me connect with that character a little more. Because the first 3 episodes in, I couldn't connect with it. I really couldn't. And honestly, I don't think it's Kevin Hart's fault. I think he does so much. I don't think he has time to kind of hone his craft. Because I think he can be an excellent actor. He just don't have time to take the time to to work on it. He's so busy. So that's my thing. Because when I watch Kevin Hart in roles like this, all I can see is Kevin Hart. All I can see him is in this one gear that I see in every single movie. Now, when he's in the right movie for that energy, he knocks it out the park. Because that's that's who he is. That every actor can't play every role. So there are certain roles for certain actors who are excellent in certain roles, but they wouldn't be in X roles. Um, and that's my thing with him. He picks these roles that I don't quite think fit him. Now, it was a place in this movie for him. TV show, I should say. This TV show for him. I just don't think it was this character. I probably would have switched it up. Don Cheadle character of the detective. If they would have switched it up, I think that would have been better. Now, Don Cheadle was excellent in this role as Detective Hudson. This Don Cheadle, man. It's Don Cheadle. He's excellent. in 99% of the stuff that he's in. And he did an excellent job here too, playing this detective who is basically a DEI hire at this police station, and he's there just to check a box, and for him to have to play the role, see all the racist stuff going on around him and have to be quiet about it. And it is infuriating for me to watch, that he sit there and he has to be quiet. But I understand to a degree in that time, in 1970, I get it. That probably wouldn't play well in 2024, at least not with me. But in 1970, yeah, that's a different time. I get a kick, and I'm go off on this tangent for about 2 minutes. Just bear with me. I get a kick out of people who uh, always talk about either slavery times or the Jim Crow eras and all this other stuff. Oh man, that wouldn't. Ain't no way that would have happened with me. How it wouldn't have? How? I would love to know how that wouldn't have. That was a different time, different era. You was gonna do exactly what they told you to do. Yeah, it stinks, but that's the era that you had to live in, you know. And so now we know better, we do better. Yeah, now nobody can pull that mess on you, but they could have did it back then, unfortunately. And we all have parents or grandparents who went through all that, who had to live through all that. And so it's talk to them, ask them how they dealt with it. And I assure you that they weren't too defiant, even though deep down they wanted to. And that's the same thing this character is dealing with in this show, Detective Hudson. He has to deal with this, and he has a scene either in the second episode, I think it was the second episode, where he kind of unleashes, or lashes out, and he's talking to his wife about that. And it was heartbreaking, man. Well, he wasn't talking to his wife. He was talking to, was it Muhammad Ali? Or one of the guys. I get lost in it. But anyways, yeah, he tells all that he had to go through. Like when he was on a football team, when he was growing up, and it was all black school and all black football team, of course, and they had to play against this all white team. And in the first half of the game, they were destroying that white team. They were beating them, and all the crowd was cheering and everybody was happy. But when it came back from halftime, they basically robbed them. Every play they got a flag. They turned off the scoreboard. And I've read stories like this, so this was not made up off the top of the head. Imagine this. This actually happened. Turning off the scoreboards and all this here, and at the end of the game, they just tell you, "Oh, the other team won." They didn't know the score or nothing. They just, "Oh, the other team won," and it was just stuff like that he had to live, the trauma that he had to live. You know what I'm saying? That's what these people go through, or had to go through, and it rolled over to the next generation and the next generation to now. And it hasn't gone anywhere. But anyway, I'm going on this thing. But anyway, the character, loved that character, as you could tell. Taraji P. Henson. Taraji P., my girl, what a queen. I love her. I love her to death. I was skeptical about this role as well because she's playing somewhat of a love interest to Kevin Hart's character of Chicken Man. And, Taraji is another actress who I enjoy, but Taraji kind of has one gear too. Actually, she can switch it into a second gear, but it's rare that she turns it into a second gear in film. But she's done it, but it's not too often. She did it here. It started off kind of shaky. I was like, okay, we're getting typical Taraji P. But then it kind of turns on his head a little bit. Like towards the second episode, beginning of the third episode, I was like, okay, we're getting another another gear here. I like this. Samuel L. Jackson as the Black Godfather. I mean, that's perfect casting here. I mean, it's Samuel L. Baby. He, he killed it. He killed it in this role. Terrence Howard. He he was funny. He was probably the biggest comedy relief without being, jokey. It was just his character was hilarious to me, and I enjoyed him as well. You have the other supporting cast in this show that really kept it going. I'm excited to see what's next in this show. How it all comes to its crescendo at the end. The first 3 episodes were basically the heist. We done been through the heist, and now we got to deal with the aftermath. And so I want to see how it all comes together, because honestly, you don't need 5 episodes to kind of to wrap up that, So I'm curious to see how all that's going to be stretched out over 5 episodes. It's really no need, but they found the way to do it. But it's going to be quite interesting to see. That's all I can say. I'm worried. I'm worried about this show, because this truly was a good start. I really, really enjoyed this start to this show. The acting was pretty good, even though I had my little gripes about Kevin Hart in the lead role. I really didn't have a problem with him. He was all right. It was just nothing special about his character, but he was all right, and everybody else did an excellent job so far. I mentioned earlier about the tone being a little all over the place. Sometimes it felt like the moments where it was supposed to be super serious, it got jokey. It kind of leaned towards the comedy aspect of it, and it didn't come from Kevin Hart. Surprisingly, it didn't come from Kevin Hart. It was just points in the show where I'm like, okay, this is supposed to be some dark subject matter, and we're joking, or the moments where you think it's supposed to be a little lighter, it's darker. So it's and that's just my view of it, and my expectation in my mind on how I think the story it should be flowing. And so I could be completely off base, but it just felt a little shaky. And this is at points. It's not throughout the whole 3 episodes. It was just at points, and it didn't kill it. It didn't make me want to say, I done seen enough. No, I'm enjoying it, and I can't wait for the remaining 5 episodes. It was, I'm just giving an honest review of the show. But so far, overall, I'm enjoying it. I enjoyed it to the point I was fighting mad that we just got 3 episodes this past Thursday. So, I can't wait going forward to see how it all comes together. I would like to know, have you checked out Fight Night, the $1 Million Heist on Peacock? Did you enjoy the first 3 episodes? Did you enjoy it enough to continue watching every Thursday going forward when they drop a new episode? Or did you not even know about this? Did anybody know about this story, about this heist? I'm telling you, I had to look it up. I really had to do some digging to find this story. There's a podcast about this. This is actually what this show is based on, that podcast, and it's the same of the same name. And so look up that podcast, Fight Night, the $1 Million Heist, and it goes through the whole story. And I listened to a couple of beats of it, and I'm invested in that. I want to go back and listen to the whole thing, but I didn't want to get too deep into it because I want to be surprised when I watch it. So I'm waiting until the show is over to go back and listen to the podcast. But speaking of podcasts, you can contact this podcast by email, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for this show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Also, don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this little look into the first 3 episodes of Fight Night, the $1 Million Heist, which is currently on Peacock. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.